Hello class, Mr. Hansen again. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about how to calculate the slope of a line given 2 points. So on the screen you'll see that I have 2 points listed. Point A is the ordered pair 3, 2, and point B is the ordered pair -2, -4. So the first thing I want to do is take this graph paper here and plot these 2 points so you can visually see where they are. So remember, you start at the origin when you're plotting points. The first number is your x-coordinate that tells you how far to go right or left. So in this case, we're going +3. And then the 2 tells us we're going to go up 2. So the point A is right there, 3, 2. Point B, again, we start at the origin. We're going to go back 2 and down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So point B turns out to be right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a ruler and draw the line through those 2 points. Remember, when you draw lines, always make it long and put nice arrows at the end because we want to make sure they go on forever and ever. So there's the line that passes through points A and point B. Now the question is, what is the slope? There's several definitions of slope depending on the context of what you're doing. The main definition is rise over run. Rise over run. So we want to know how much we climb for how much compared to how much we go right or left. Or we can also say how much we go down versus right or left. Okay. Another definition is rate of change. For example, if you make, let's say, $10 an hour at your job, $10 would be the rate of change. For every hour you work, you get an additional $10. That would be the slope of the line if we would graph that. Another definition is delta y over delta x. Delta means change in y over the change in x. Okay, and the formula to find the change in y over the change in x, and this is what you're going to want to memorize, is y2 minus y1, and I'll explain where those come from in a second, divided by x2 minus x1. And this turns out to be the formula to calculate your slope if you have 2 points. Okay, so you're wondering, well, what is y2 and y1? Now, these are just names of coordinates. These are called subscripts, these little numbers here. So they're used to distinguish between 2 different y values and 2 different x values. So if you look back at this example, we have an ordered pair for B, which is -2, -4. So we could call this point x1, comma y1. And we use the subscripts 1 because that's the first point we chose. Okay. If this point is x1, y1, the second point A must be labeled x2, comma y2. So we're just giving all 4 numbers a name. Now, could have I called this point x1, y1? Sure. If I called this x1 and y1, these points 3 and 2, then it follows that I would have to call this x2 and y2 down here. So the names, again, are just to distinguish the 4 numbers. So if you look at the graph, it's pretty simple in the line's graph to figure out the slope. Remember, it's rise over run, so if you start at point B, we got to figure out how much we go up and then over to get to point A. So let's see if you can see this. I'll count how many squares there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the rise would be 6. And from here, I got to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if all things work out in the formula, we should have a rise of 6 and a run of 5. That should be the slope. Let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'm even with A. And I count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now if we use the formula, we should still get the same answer, 6/5. Let's see if it works. So the formula says take your second y-coordinate called y2. Remember, we named this y2. So we're going to take 2 minus by y1. And if you look here, y1 we called -4, or we called -4 y1. Make sure you put that negative sign in there. All right, and on the bottom, x2 is 3 minus x1, which is negative 2. And we all know that a double negative changes to addition, so we get 6. 3 minus the negative 2 is 5. And lo and behold, our slope is 6/5. Now we always use the letter m for slope, okay, and we'll talk about the history of that later on. But if you see m, that means the slope of the line. So what does that mean for us? Well, I'll tell you what. If you take any point on this line right now, I don't care which one it is, say this point right here, and you go up 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and over 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you will land on that line. Okay, that's called the rise and run. And every line in a plane, okay, that goes through 2 points is unique. Okay, so and all the points on that, I should say this, all the points on that line have the same slope. Okay, questions on that? All right, let's do another example. Let's talk about horizontal and vertical lines a little bit. Let me grab my ruler. So what is this? We're going to say is, what is the slope of a vertical line? What is the slope of a vertical line? Well, you know, vertical lines go straight up and down. So here's an example. X equals 5. Now remember from your line notes that anytime you have x equals a constant and there's no variable other than x, this is going to be a vertical line. So you go on the x-axis where x equals 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we draw a vertical line through that point. Okay, so the question is, let it get focused here, hopefully. Sorry about that. Come on. Hopefully it gets focused. So I'm try putting my fingers there. There we go. There we go. Okay, so let me just demonstrate what the slope is. You can do this, figure this out by using the formula. Remember, the slope is found by taking y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you're wondering, well, where are we going to get these 2 points? Well, you get to pick any 2 points on that line. Let's pick this point because that's easy. That point we'll call point A, and that is at 5, 0. There's point A. And let's pick this point. We'll call that point B. Point B is at 5, looks like negative 4. So let's call this point x1, y1. Again, that's your choice. Call this one x2, y2, and let's plug and chug. So y2 is negative 4, and I'm going kind of fast here. You can always rewind it if you have to. Minus, my y1 is 0, divided by 5 minus 5. X2 minus x1. So we get negative 4 over 0. Interesting. We can't divide by 0, can we? So we call this undefined. We can't divide by 0, and that goes to show you that if you have a vertical line, you will always get an undefined slope because these coordinates will always be the same and you'll get 0 there. So just remember, vertical lines have an undefined, sometimes they call that no slope. Okay, don't write the number 0 because that doesn't apply. Okay, real quickly, let's do a horizontal line. Remember, horizontal lines are for example, y equals 2. Horizontal lines have y equals a constant, and this constant tells you where it crosses the y-axis. So we go up to y equals 2, and we'll draw, sorry about that, we'll draw a horizontal line through y equals 2. Okay, so what is the slope of a horizontal line? All right, and the answer to that, let's do the same thing we did before. Let's pick 2 points. Looks like we could use the point 0, 2, call that point A. And let's pick this one right here. Looks like that point is 5, 2. Call that point B. And I'm going to find the slope between those 2 points. Let's pull out our formula. Change in y's. So it's the difference in y's over the differences in x's. Let's plug and chug. Let's call this one x1, y1. That leaves this to be x2 and y2. Okay, so y1 is, y2 is 2. So we have 2 minus 2. I think you see what's going to happen here. And x2 is 0 minus 5. So we get 0 over negative 5. But what's 0 divided by any number besides 0? It's just 0. So the slope of a horizontal line is always 0. I don't care where it is. It could be there, it could be here, it could be here. All horizontal lines have a slope of 0. Okay? And a way that I remember, this is kind of silly, but if I think of a skier, if you ski down a vertical slope, you're probably going to be undefined. In other words, it's not going to be a good scenario at the end. If you're on a ski hill and you go down a vertical cliff, you're going to be undefined real fast. And this is kind of corny too, but the way I remember horizontal slope is I think of this as a dumbbell, like in a weight room. Okay, you have dumbbells, 0 slope. I know it's kind of corny, but if it helps you, so be it. All right, good job. We'll see you in class.